Today I would like to discuss the Kabbalah and the Lodge. In the early days of the Royal Society from 1660 to about 1700, members such as John Wilkins, Franz Lodwig and Gottfried Leibniz were all looking for what they called the universal language, or also called the philosophical language. This would be something akin to Esperanto, a single language that would unite the whole world. Surprisingly, they did not think that English could be that language, though this is increasingly becoming so. Part of the interest for Protestant England was to move away from popery, and that included replacing Latin. The Swedish diplomat, Baron Bengt Skite, researched the Kabbalistic Hebrew root of language, believing it to be the primeval language of the human race. Around the same time, the Dutch scholar Isaac Vossivus, who was a member of the Royal Society searching for a universal language, also believing it to be Hebrew. Leibniz refused the belief that Hebrew was the universal language, but as this was widely held by most Christian scholars of the day. Leibniz was educated as a philosopher, but he was very interested in mathematics as well, and discovered a form of calculus that he believed was related to logic, and through it, it would work as a universal language. The merchant Francis Lodwig, who had collected books on China since the 1650s in his search for the universal language, was also a member of the Royal Society. Another member, John Wilkins, also believed that Chinese might be the universal language, even though they did not understand it, and most people thought it was too copious, too hard to remember, and thus a waste of time. In Germany, at the time of the Rosicrucian movement, there were two experts in prophecy, alchemy, magic, and the Kabbalah, namely Francis Helmut and Christian Noor von Rosenroth. Though both Helmut and Rosenroth were interested in the Kabbalah, Rosenroth studied Hebrew as he believed it was a bridge between Judaism and Christianity. We can see the form of the Kabbalistic tree of life in the lodge, and I believe that this is why the altar is generally in the middle of the room, not in the east as in Christian churches. So let me explain a little bit about the background to the tree of life. Sefer Yetzirah is the title of the earliest book on Jewish esotericism, although some early commentators believed it was a treatise on mathematical and linguistic theory. Yetzirah means formation. The book is traditionally ascribed to the patriarch Abraham, and there are several versions of it. In the 16th century, a rabbi called Isaac Luria, also known as Ari, redacted the Sefer Yetzirah to harmonize it with yet another sacred Jewish book, the Zohar, known in English as the Hebrew Book of Splendor or Radiance, and it is the essential work on Jewish mystical thought that we now know as the Kabbalah. The Zohar introduced the concept of the tree of life and the lightning strike. Ari realized that man had alienated himself from God, known in the Christianity as the fall of man, and so he drew the pattern of the tree of life to reflect this. The lightning strike shows the order in which God created the world, and conversely the order that spiritual work, known as pathworking, should be done. In the 18th century, Rabbi Vilna Gaon, known as Grad, further edited the Tree of Life to show the perfect pattern to give the exiled Jews hope that through their spiritual labors they would be able to restore man to his rightful position next to the Creator. On the tree of life, the master, treasurer, and secretary occupy the positions of Keter, Bina, and Hokmah. The junior warden is at the position of Hesed, but there is no warden in the north. Except in Europe, in some constitutions, they do have wardens in the north. The pursuivant is in the position of Hod. The inside sentinel is at Netzah, and the senior warden sits at Malkut. These are not just coincidental. They have a meaning that relates to the ritual. There are two positions that are vacant. Isod, in front of the senior warden, and turn around like this. And Dart, which would be in front of the worshipful master. Though all positions, which are known as Sephirot, are important, the Hiramic tragedy centers on three positions. Interestingly, these Sephirot are purposely not occupied by lodge officers. This is important as it shows that the correlation is not coincidental but deliberate. Geburah is where, in the north, is where the tragedy occurred. Geburah is about judging humanity in general. It is the foundation of the absolute adherence to the letter of the law and strictly meting out justice. Da'at is where the ruffians temporarily concealed their crime. It means knowledge and is the mystical state where all 10 Sephirot in the tree of life are united as one. Isod is where the ruffians thought that they had successfully hidden the evidence of their crime. That is, on the brow of a hill west of Mount Moriah. In the Kabbalah, Isod is the foundation upon which God has built the world. In other words, the Messiah, Christ. Tiphareth is where the volume of the sacred law is displayed. In the Kabbalah, it represents spirituality, balance, integration, beauty, and compassion. So we can see that a lot of thought was given in how to arrange the lodge to perfectly fit the Ari tree of life. I think if you research it, you will find the teachings of the tree of life are harmonious with those of Freemasonry. And in this way, the first three Grand Masters of the Grand Lodge of England were able to make a bridge between Christianity and Judaism. Thank you.